podcast of Tibetan Kung Fu. Whether you're a student, current listener, or new to our podcast, thank you very much for listening to episode number 6, Bagua CornerStones. During today's podcast, because of requested interest, we're going to share some of the cornerstones that we're going to be doing in the Bagua workshop coming up on July 26th at 1 p.m. We'll also look at some of the findings of Professor Kang-ge Wu, perhaps the greatest researcher of Bagua. He wrote his master's thesis on the origins of Bagua. And the third part, we're going to take you through a Bagua Qigong workout. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes long. I recorded it on Saturday morning, 4:30 a.m., prior to coming in here to doing lessons and those types of things. So I wanted to share that with you. There'll be a link embedded both on the YouTube channel slideshow and during this episode so that you can download the MP3 file separate if you'd like to hold on to it. It'll be there for 60 days. After that, if you'd like to get it, just shoot me an email. I want to say thank you to the subscribers and some of the feedback we got last week. Thank you to Scott for subscribing to our YouTube channel. It helps us when you do subscribe at the iTunes, Stitcher, and some of the other carriers. It helps promote the podcast. Excuse me. Also want to say thank you to Faith, Bruce, Travis, Bob, Ryan, Allison, Danielle, and Jean for your time-sharing comments. I also want to say I appreciate Danny, Casey, Linda, Lisa B., Patrick, Dwight, and Jessica for your support and feedback as well. Last week's episode, Mortar for the Bricks, really stimulated some thoughts and stories and exactly what good Kung Fu is supposed to do. It makes you move from the inside out. Faith wrote, and she says, I find this very true when things get really rough for me. At first, I feel myself crumbling under the difficulties, but then beneath that, I find a strength of spirit that keeps me strong even when my body is weak. That is finding Mortar for the Bricks. If you'd like to send us some feedback, you can go to TibetanKungFu.net/contact, and it'll take you right to the email place. And then there's the /podcast, which will take you to all the podcast shows. Social media tabs, Facebook, Twitter, and all that will be both at the show notes and on the YouTube channel. And, of course, the links are there at the website. In the upcoming events, I'm really excited about being the guest speaker with Excel for Apps Salesforce Tuesday, August 19th. You know, they're an international company that provides real-time reporting for Oracle and SAP applications. I had the privilege of meeting with them last year, and this year we're going to be talking about the essentials of excelling with balance, the ability to have high levels of performance, but keeping the initial focus internal. Now, for the cornerstones of the Bagua workshop, this is going to be a blend between some of the Bagua that we know today was not a martial art at all. It was part of a meditative tradition and skill set that was developed during around 1170 called Jun Tian Jun. Forgive me for my pronunciation. It basically literally translates as walk, honor the day and universe, so that we can see that there is a separation of meditation and martial to begin with. Later, much later actually, it wasn't until the mid-1800s that Dong Hao Tuan developed what is called changing palm system. We usually know as walking the circle in Bagua, but there was a lot more than just walking a circle, where the mindset there was to strive for stillness while in motion, to learn to train your body while harnessing the spirit. Besides understanding the root of the Bagua, we also want to practice some of the martial aspects of the Bagua and the energetic forms of the Bagua. Bagua exercises to limber the legs, waist, and shoulders, the Qigong. Footwork and balance are a premium during Bagua, so we'll be walking. We'll walk the circle quite a bit. We'll walk straight lines some as well, and using a camel step to do so. One of the other cornerstones of walking Bagua will be is understanding 2 of the 3 pressing palms. Now, if we have more time and we get through all that and feel good about it, we can do a little bit more. But those will be the primary cornerstones of the Bagua workshop, is understanding its historical references through the summary findings of Mr. Kang-ge Wu, learning what it means to strive for stillness while in motion. Some of the emphasis of the training, both in the limbering the legs, waist, and shoulders, learning footwork, and understanding a couple of martial techniques and applications. A quick biography on Professor Kangye Wu is that he is renowned as studying Bagua Jiang perhaps more than any other person. He's reviewed over 1,000 original documents, interviewed over 40 practitioners in over 27 provinces during 1980 to 82. He wrote his master's thesis on the origins of Bagua. He taught at the Köln. Forgive me, I had a German lesson yesterday to pronounce that properly and just failed miserably. But we call it Cologne for the reasons because I can't say Köln, that umlaut thing. The Cologne Institute of Physical Education in Germany. He was also the head researcher of the Wushu Institute and is the Secretary General of the Chinese Wushu Association. So he knows his stuff. I refer to him mostly because his perspective of Bagua history can pierce through a lot of the legends, lineages, and the tales. It's not that those things aren't great and they don't have their place. It's just that when you're looking for historical fact, there's going to be very few better than Professor Kangye Wu. Now, I have tried to get in touch with one of his assistants so that we could bring him or one of his assistants onto the KungFuPodcast.com show that's coming up here pretty soon. The KungFuPodcast.com show is going to have a very broad scope, and it's going to look at timelines, cultural influences of the Chinese martial arts, and how it's resonated into other styles of martial arts. We have a whole editorial calendar being developed through 2014 and 2015, and we're excited about it. It's going to take a little different niche than what we do here at Tibetan Kung Fu Podcasts because this one is for our backyard. KungFuPodcast.com is going to have a more global scope. So before we get to the Bagua workout, just so you know, we have an 8-week Kung Fu fitness program rolling out mid-August. It's going to meet every Monday night at 7 p.m. It's going to have 4 primary aspects to it. It's going to have a little Choli foot, Kung Fu conditioning and fitness, stretching, and meditation. 1 hour. It's a separate course. It's not a class. If you're interested or know someone who might be, just get in touch with me or Mr. Knox, and we'll kind of go from there. Our Yang Tai Chi courses and Quan Ping Tai Chi courses are coming along, where the courses are dedicated specifically to learning Yang 24, Yang 48, or Quan Ping, for example. We've had quite a few people interested in doing things that were specific to one style, and that's the reason, the driving force behind developing courses. I want you to know that I think of you all quite a bit, and it really motivates me and helps me when I get feedback from you. Part of that also brings with it that we get to witness and experience with other folks a lot of changes as life goes along. As the compass changes in all of our lives from time to time, it's important that you find yourself. I encourage you to go out and practice, calm your mind, and find your heart every day. It'll be the thing that guides you the most through the cloudy days.